Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we have a motion to return to regular session. All in favor say aye. 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 Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion passed. Okay, at this time, I'm going to make a motion to uphold the superintendent's recommendation of a expulsion for student 14-000-5746, and that expulsion will be for the remainder of the 24-25 school year. Any questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation of expulsion for student 14-000-5746, the remainder of the 24-25 school year. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, guys, I need to go back to the first page because I skipped Mr. Smith and Mrs. Taylor. Okay, so first thing under information was an update on community survey for potential bond. Mr. McCown.
So I sent, there were 290 responses to the community survey, so this was way too big for me to print and give it to you, but I did put it in an Excel spreadsheet and I emailed you the whole thing, but I will briefly go through some of the highlights here. So we had 290 respondents, 18% of that identified as being a board employee, 37% as a parent, 16% as a student, and 47.2% as a Wirt County resident, with several different iterations of other that they put in there, from graduate to former student to grandparents. Under what issues or problems does the current high school have? These were wide and varied, but among the highlights were doors and windows, HVAC, structural issues, just the sheer age of the current high school, moving on to like lack of baseball track facilities and things of that issue. Likewise, the next question, if Wirt County could build a new high school, what amenities would you like to see? A new school, from bigger classrooms, better equipped classrooms, ranging down through various upgrades to sports facilities, and there were a lot of those, so I'm not going to go through and read all of those to you. The next question says the SBA provides funds for new school construction but does not cover sports fields or other non-academic areas. With this in mind, would you support a county bond to provide funds for these improvements? It was 78.6% yes, 21.4% no, so dramatically in favor of supporting a bond from those respondents. The next question says the passage of the county bond would raise taxes. How willing are you to pay for higher tax rates to fund new school construction and update facilities? 35.2% were very willing, 15.9% moderately willing, 18.3% neutral, 13.4% somewhat willing, and only 17.2% not willing. Would you support construction of the new track facility in our community? 57.9% strongly support, 13.8% somewhat support, 16.2% were neutral, and only 8.3% strongly opposed. So again, very positive. How much of a tax increase would you be willing to accept to help fund the construction of the new school and update facilities? 29% said they would support a significant increase. 41.7% said a moderate increase. 11.7%, or wait a minute, I've got my colorblind. It's colors, and I'm kind of colorblind, so I'm having difficulty with this one. Let me figure this out here. 1 second. So 17.6% said no increase. 29% said a small increase. 41.7% said a moderate increase. And 11.7% said a significant increase. Then the last question, any other thoughts or comments that weren't addressed? Those were wide and ranging, but the vast majority of the ones that left a comment said that basically it was time to build a new school. The old facility has got structural issues, and they just want to see something good that the kids and their parents can be proud of in a new school. But again, there were a ton, nearly 300 responses to the survey, and that is in your email in an Excel spreadsheet. You can open it up. It's got a column for each question, and then all of the answers to that question is in that column in the spreadsheet for you to look through at your convenience.
Questions from Mr. McCown? What's our next step, John?
So the next step would be to bring before the board to approve me to advertise for pre-bond services, to contract with somebody. If we're going to pursue a bond, they would guide us through that process, help advertise it, and hold informational hearings with the public to answer their questions, and to put through exactly how much the bond is going to be, how much the tax increase would be, and exactly what we're going to be getting for the amount of money that we're asking the county for.
Okay. When would you like to start that?
Um,
Because that's the first step. If the board,
I could
if the
have
board-
that
board
potentially.
votes no on that, then it
We're
just
we're
goes
done,
away.
yeah.
We have to
So
get
I
to
could bring
point.
that back by the 20th board meeting and have what that advertisement wording would be, and have the board to approve that.
And that would put the board officially that we've approved to go down this road.
Yes.
Is that enough time, or you need more than that?
I think that would give me enough time.
Okay, let's do that then. And then what'll happen, he'll bring that to us, and we will have those discussions, and we'll vote yes or no, and if we vote yes, then he'll start down that road. If we vote no, it'll not happen. Questions for Mr. McCown? John, you did a good job on that.
Yeah, it was.
It was well received. I mean, a lot of people, nearly 300 folks. Yeah.
One of the big things, and it wasn't addressed in any of the things that you was saying that I heard, was where would we want to have it? And, you know, we go right by the middle school. There's a big lot there that's another question I have. Did we pay for a survey there?
We did. It's surveyed.
Yeah, and there's another softball field there. But, you know, that would look like a convenient place, or the field on the other side. But that's needless to say. But that's one of the biggest questions I've had. Where will we put it?
Yeah, I had that question within the last day, and well, Luke was standing there, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
And my answer was that we had not
Right.
got to that point. We haven't officially said we're going to do
Right.
anything. And once we vote to officially say we're going to do something, then we'll get to that point. Because it is a valid question, and it's the question at the moment I don't have an answer for. Because that'll take some work. It'll take some architectural and it'll take some work to do that. Yeah.
Mr. McCown? So, from understanding what you said, that there would be, the bond people would look into what we would get for that additional money? So how does?
So the pre-bond services would cover a lot of things, like, and I forgot to mention this, if we were to approve and the board wants to run a bond, as soon as we could possibly do it would be May 2026 with the midterm election, because a bond would have to go on a general ballot for the public to vote. If we then pass that bond, the following September, we would have to request funding from the school building authority. And then the following December, the school building authority, if they approved our proposal, would then give us that funding. So it's not going to be a timely, concise process. It's going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, the first step though is advertising for pre-bond services. It would be an architectural engineering firm that would look at the potential funding we could get from the school building authority, and then what additional bond we would need to run to do everything that we want to do with the facility.
And then I remember when we built the middle school, when we got to that point and we started, we had, I don't know, 4 or 5 committees, maybe more than that, of people, just open committees that people came in, and Mr. Smith probably remembers that, that came in, and we sat down around tables, and you know, people threw out their ideas, what they thought, and those people took that, and the architect stuff took that, and they put it together for us from what they heard our people saying they wanted. And it's not going to be a short process.
No, not at all.
Yeah, but that's okay too.
Yeah, and in this process, is there any steps where we look for other funds in addition to the bond of a small business? For instance, through our state legislature, where we can ask them for any type of grants or funds before we ask the taxpayers for the increase?
So I don't know of any other, the legislature, their mechanism for funding schools is the school building authority. They're not going to allocate any additional state funds for any of that. So, and the issue with the school building authority funds, it can only be used for things that are instructional. If we want to upgrade a track facility or any other ancillary thing that doesn't directly correlate to instruction, you cannot build it with school building authority funds. That necessitates the county passing a bond.
Can any of these things be dual use? For instance, if we had an athletic facility that was also used to teach physical education or something like that?
Yeah, that's how this new gym here was built.
So a
Yeah.
gym would do that, but like a football field, a track, a baseball field, the only probably dual thing would be gym, because physical education is taught there. I don't know that any of the other sports-related things could claim the same.
And there are times I see the legislators take our local people. I've seen them, you know, if you're building a dressing room, they'll help with some money for a dressing room or for a concession stand, you know, that type of stuff that they'll help. But most of it will have to, I mean, we'll have to put it out of county funds. I mean, we'll have to.
Point being, it doesn't hurt to ask them for
Oh,
their
yeah.
help as we go through the process.
Absolutely.
And then if the answer is no, there's no way that any of this could be dual use or used any other funds, then that's the answer.
But gyms, you'll get gyms and dressing rooms and stuff like that. That when we built the middle school, that gym was built because it was used as it's considered an instructional area. And same thing with this gym here, because the old gym was turned into the auditorium. So, yeah, there'll be some of that, but that's what those architects, that's where,
It is.
Yeah.
that's where they'll get us.
Well, while we're on the SBA, should we see if that would be, no, we haven't had much luck with them in the past. So that's where I'm getting.
And Mr. Smith has taken multiple projects down there. We took a project for new windows and doors and upgraded restrooms at the high school to them, and it did not get funded.
Okay.
But this school is down their alley. I mean, this is what they're funding at
Yes.
this time.
But that has to be approved before or after the bond?
Well, it's just, so the school building authority takes proposals every September and votes on them every December. And we've got to, you know, show that the will of the county is in support of it by passing the bond, which is going to be in May. And then if we pass that and we go and ask the school building authority for additional funds to help us meet that need, we're more likely to get funded if we pass the bond.
Yeah, this is the way Wood County, passed their bond and then took it to, say, we've got this money.
But those are
you
the
know, and-
procedures you gotta do before you
Yeah.
go to the SBA.
Yeah, it's sort of, car in front of the horse or the horse in front of the cart.
Right.
One,
It's not-
I don't know.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing either, really,
Yeah.
because it shows, like you said, if you
But
go.
the county is in support of
Right,
it.
Yeah.
the whole county's for it, so,
That's all I have.
Okay, so you're gonna bring that back to us?
Yes,
and
sir.
We'll see if we go down this road. We'll have a vote and see how it turns out. Thank you, John, for your work on that. Okay, we're up to Mr. Smith, the maintenance update.
Okay, I will. Just a second, I'm sorry.
Mr. Smith, I hate to do this to you.
I was going to ask if
But I'm
you
gonna
would let
back you
Mrs.
off and
Taylor
let Mrs. Taylor go
go. Okay, I was
first.
going to ask if that'd be all right. Just let Mrs. Taylor go and then I.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, good evening. I'm Mrs. Taylor from the Primary Center, and this is National Teacher Appreciation Week.
Yes,
And
it
I
is.
want to start by saying how wonderful our teachers are. They have done a fabulous job this year. They've welcomed me, they've been very supportive, and I thank every one of them, and they've just done a fabulous job, and I'm going to show you some data from that fabulous job they are doing. All right, Will, it's not working now. I wonder if my computer went to sleep during the, not really, it looks like it's awake, but it's really not.
Kind of stalled.
There you go.
Okay, thank you, sir. We're going to start with math. So at the beginning of the year, we had 18% of our students were on green. Green means grade level. 61% of our students were one grade level below, and 21% of our students were two or more grade levels below. And if you think about it, it's the beginning of the year. So they're being tested on material that they've not yet been taught at the beginning of the year. Middle of the year, 42% of our students are on grade level, 51% of our students are one grade level below, and 7% of our students are two or more grade levels below. So we have reduced our students two or more grade levels by 66%. Our yearly comparison from 2021 till now, you'll notice that we have 42% of our students in green. That is our second highest that we've had in the last 5 years. And we have 7% of our students in red, which is the lowest in the last 5 years of data. From the numbers and operations, we have 28% were in green at the beginning of the year, 58% were in yellow, and 14% were red. We have increased that to 56% on grade level, 37% one grade level below, and 7% two or more grade levels. Algebra and algebraic thinking, we have increased from 23% in green to 50% in green, 59% yellow to 44% yellow, and 18% red to 6% red. Beginning of the year for measurement and data, we went from 28% to 50%, 51% in yellow to 40% yellow, and we went from 21% red to 10% red. In geometry, we, at the beginning of the year, had 23% in green, 56% in yellow, and 21% in red. We have increased to 41% green, 48% yellow, and 11% red. This is a breakdown of all of the grades from beginning of the year to middle of the year. You can see our kindergarten had a growth of 39% in math. First grade had a growth of 27%. Second grade had a 10% growth. Third grade a 29% growth. And fourth grade a 15% growth from beginning of the year to middle of the year. This is our quadrant comparison here. You can see third and kindergarten are high performance, high growth. Second grade is also high performance, high growth. And first and fourth grade are this close to being high performance, high growth. At the beginning of the year, we had some math goals. We have met 2 out of 3 of those math goals at the middle of the year, not even at the end of the year, mid-year. One of our goals was 65% of our students will make typical growth. In mid-year, we were at 20%. We will double the number of students at or above grade level. Our goal was 36%. Middle of the year, we were already at 42%. And we will decrease the number of students 2 or more grade levels by half or 50%. Our goal was 10%, and we were already at 7% middle of the year. Reading goals. Our reading scores are wonderful. Beginning of the year, we were 31% on grade level. We've increased that to 56%. Beginning of the year, we had 52% one grade level below. We now have 33%. And we had 17% of our students 2 or more grade levels below, and we're at 11 as of mid-year. Our yearly comparison from 2021 all the way to 2025, you can see that by mid-year, we had more kids in green than we have in the last 5 years, and we had less kids in red than we have in the last 5 years. This is impressive. Our phonological awareness, beginning of the year, 73% in green, went to 88%. But look at that red. 1% of our students are 2 or more grade levels below in phonological awareness. In phonics, we went from 41% in green to 69, 36% in yellow to 19, and 23% to 12 in red. High frequency words, we went from 56% to 74. In green, 33% to 21% in yellow, and 11% to 5 in red. Our reading vocabulary was 29% at grade level, went to 52%. We have 50% one grade level below in yellow, went to 34%, and then 21% in red to 14%. Comprehension literature, 34% in green to 53%, 43% in yellow to 36%, and 22% in red to 11%. Our comprehension of informational text went from 31% to 47%, 46% in yellow to 40%, and 23% to 14%. Our yearly comparison, if you look at kindergarten, they've had a growth of 60%. First grade has had a growth of 27%. Second grade, 23%. And third and fourth grade have both had a 10% growth. Our performance graph, we have kindergarten and second grade in high performance, high growth. Third and fourth are, once again, really close to the line. And first grade is also pretty close. Our goals for reading from the beginning of the year, 65% of our students will make typical growth on the iReady diagnostic. We're at 33% middle of the year. We will double the number of students in green. Our goal was 62% mid-year. We were at 55. And we will decrease the number of students who are in red by 50%. We are at 11, and our goal was 8.5%. A couple of our teachers have really dove into what's called Think SRSD, which is a way to teach writing. And they actually led some PLCs with our teachers. They took time out of their schedule and taught our teachers how to teach writing. Then in April, we had a training with the actual Think SRD people on our PL day in April. And this is an example of a fourth grader's writing here using the C space technique of how to write her story. C is like character, S is setting, P is the problem, E is the ending, and this fabulous story. She did a really, really nice job on this, and I will send this to Mr. McCallan. He can forward it on to you guys so you can
Happy to do that.
take some time to read through. This one I loved. This young man made all of his into chapters, and you'll notice the last chapter is I will always come back, so I feel like there's a sequel to this. But he did a marvelous, marvelous job of writing his story out using C-Space. And this is relatively new to our teachers. They just started the training in February and have already implemented it into the classroom. And here are some examples of our writing. The other end of the spectrum is some kindergarten writing. Kindergarten writing here, you notice on the top of the page, we have a little, looks like a little rocket that says tide. And T stands for our topic, and then important detail, important detail, important detail, and then the E is the ending. And you'll notice these guys and girls are writing about Earth Day, which was just a week or two ago. And they're talking about recycle, and they're spelling phonetically, they're sounding out all their words. This one says, humans take care of the earth all the time, so everything on the earth can serve, and then the rest of it, I can't see it on my glasses on, sorry about that. And this one on the right, I really, really liked his. Humans, H-O-O-M-I-N-S, humans. Humans can take care of the earth right now so that it can stay clean, so the earth can stay clean. Kindergarten writing. I just love it. I love it. These are fantastic, fantastic examples. And he talks about that we can recycle trash, if we can reuse glass and paper. Some events that we've had this semester at the primary center. We had Read Across America Week. We had several of our parents that came in, several of our volunteers.
We saw a board member or two out and about.
Yes, we had some community members also come in to read to us, and we had our middle school principal, our high school principal, and one of our board members come over to read. So we were excited to have them over. Mr. McCown, I don't have a picture of you in here reading.
Well, darn.
I-
I'd have broke your slideshow.
I see Mr. Moore there.
And then we have been recognizing our students who reached typical and stretch growth at mid-year with some certificates, went around to all their classrooms and gave out their certificates and explained to the boys and girls why they were getting them if they reached typical growth or stretch growth in math or ELA. We had an art and music night last Friday night. It was a packed house. We used the middle school gym, and I came in and I thought, okay, I can probably rearrange some people, have them move. No, I couldn't. It was packed. Were you there?
Yeah.
It was packed.
But it was awesome.
It was
Very
great.
well done.
It was fantastic, fantastic night. The kids did really, really well. And the art samples up in the hallway were just marvelous. We had a whole black light display. We had some things hanging from the ceiling. They had some fish that they had done hanging from the ceiling. They had these little medallions out. It was just wonderful. It was a wonderful night. We also had Miss West Virginia came by to visit our third graders. She talked about dental hygiene. We also had a spring carnival, and I was enjoying it so much I didn't take any pictures of the spring carnival, and I asked around for pictures. But we did have that going on as well, and that was a very well-attended event as well. So if there's any questions.
The graphs you were showing on the grades.
Yes, sir.
Is IEP students included in that?
Yes, sir. Yes, that is our entire student body, yes. Yeah.
Speaking of events, though, speaking of the wetlands, they did a real good job with it, too.
Yes, they did.
There's a lot of work that goes into that, I'm sure.
Yes. This is my first time, obviously, and I went out and walked around and it was amazing.
Yes.
It was utterly amazing, yeah.
You said 26 different people that set up, right?
I think there was, something like 20 some different stations.
That's
Mr.
awesome.
Metz was there. It's just,
Yeah, I saw
It's a
them
big
catching fish.
undertaking, and it was awesome. We had a child that normally you would say, "What did you do in school today?" And the answer is, "What did you learn today?" They were talking about bees, and this child told me multiple things about bees. There had to be a queen. They only hatched at this time. The males had wings. If the queen died, they all died. I mean, all these facts, and I thought, we should take you outside every day.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes, it was great.
Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. We appreciate your
Yeah,
time.
I have a question for you. So with some of these scores here, is there anything that you could change or that you would, any other resources or things you would need to make more improvement? Or things
Well-
that we could do to make that better?
This is the middle of the year data, so it's not the end of the year data.
Right.
So this data is back from, we started the diagnostic in January, but all the snow days, it continued on to February. I think right now, you're seeing some better data from the younger kids with they implemented a different math curriculum. It teaches math a little bit different pace, and so I've heard great things about that and how the kids are reacting to that. So I feel confident that that will help with our math. As we see, the math scores are wonderful, but I think they'll get better.
Okay, so the real question is there anything that the administration or the board that can do that would get better results that you would like to see?
Okay, we're already like going into the classroom. We do observations. We do walkthroughs. Every week we're into teachers' classrooms. Lesson plans are checked. So right now I want to see where the data falls out at the end of the year before I could definitely say this is a problem. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you. I'm going to ask you to stay
Okay.
just for a minute because Mr. Smith is going to talk about bleachers for a primary center gym.
Correct,
And you
yes.
might be add some of that, what you've done to help with money and that type of stuff.
Perfect,
So
yep.
If you're
All right,
just
Mr.
a couple minutes, I promise.
Do I need to disconnect?
Jeff, you want to start with that one?
You want to do the bleachers before?
Yes,
the
yes,
maintenance?
please.
That's fine, okay. Okay, in that case, we got time. If that's all right, Mr. Metz, I'll go ahead and discuss the bleacher. Mr.
Yeah.
McCown, if you're all right with that. The figures we came up with, and it's in your packet, the figures to, what we did, as you see further down into the board agenda, we're going to propose to replace the bleachers at the high school. Well, the same gentleman that does that is the gentleman that put the bleachers in at the middle school. So they had inquired at the primary center about, what about getting bleachers over at the primary center? As you said at that outing the other day, there's no bleachers, so it makes it hard. Everybody's just standing up. That's a perfect example where we get into those issues. And we're also concerned about safety issues and various things why we need to get bleachers for Christmas concerts, just anything that may occur during the school year. And Mrs. Taylor had told me that they had raised money at the primary center to get bleachers that was earmarked through PTO. They'd been raising money over a period of time. And I came and had a gentleman from R.H. Huffman come in and give a quote on what they wanted with what they had to work with over there, and they established the schematics and all that information and got back with me. So I came back to Mr. McCown and Mrs. Cummings, and we discussed, we were looking at doing bleachers here, and we talked about how they'd worked so hard at the PTO to raise money. Was there anything that we could do to help with this process? So those are the figures. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. McCown, but we'd like to propose is perhaps if the board, with their approval, if we could pay $30,000 and the PTO, which they'd raised the funds to make up the difference, which was $17,898 is what the difference was. That's what we wanted to come back with you to this evening and talk to you about that situation. And if you had any questions, as Mr. Metz said, I've been inquiring with Mrs. Taylor. She can even address it more if need be, what the PTO has done to raise money for that. But they had that money earmarked, so she was pleasantly surprised when we came back and said,
And
we'll
just
see
the
what we could do.
The discussion in the board office was, the board has paid for the middle school to get new bleachers. It's in the works for the high school to get new bleachers that the board is paying for. And it felt like it wasn't quite fair for the PTO to pick up the full cost of the bleachers. So while they have raised money, I'm happy for the board to help with that project some, so the full weight of that isn't on the PTO for the whole price.
So it's 47,000 and change?
47, 898, Mr. Metz, is what the whole total would be.
Okay.
That's correct.
And you guys have already raised about 17, Ms. Taylor?
Yes, I think the PTO account has around 33,000. That was before field trips. So after field trips, about 27,000 after field trips.
And we didn't want to drain the PTO, of course, so we could avoid that, Mr.
No.
Metz, is why.
So we would have had to raise more money. We didn't have the entire amount.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Stewart, go ahead.
Refresh my mind a little bit, because I've been in there some. Is there any bleachers at all in there?
No.
There are not.
That's
There-
what I was thinking. Is there enough room to put bleachers in?
Yes. You want to?
Yeah,
Yes,
that's why
the,
I'm curious
Yeah.
how they're going.
I don't remember his name. What was his name?
Dan Huffman with RH Huffman, he's the same gentleman, I'm sorry, I'm loud enough, I don't mean to. But anyway, it's the same gentleman that put the bleachers in at the middle school, Mr. Metz, and everybody, those hard polymer bleachers that they run with electric control. So he came in and looked, and they're going to do the same type of thing, just a smaller scale, so.
Yes.
And that way, explain what you have to do now, so.
He came in and measured the gym, and he looked at the HVAC, because it is up on the wall, and you can't have the bleachers under the HVAC because of people hitting their head on it. So he measured the bleachers. He sent a schematic of what the bleachers would look like, both from the front view and the side view. They would be electric, so we would have a controller that would push them up against the wall, so they would be out of the way for our gym class. They'd be out of the way for, like, say, pickleball, who uses our gym all the time, or cheerleading or wrestling. So they would stay up against the wall until we need them, and then they would come out.
The two long walls or two end walls?
The long wall. So if you walk into the gym, not
Just one side?
correct, yes.
What's that device?
Opposite the loo.
Say it again?
Opposite the loo,
Okay.
the
And
projector on the
what
wall.
are they saying will be the capacity?
there was 100, it's like 160 benches, but you can fit more than one person on a bench. Because the benches were like, I think, 24 to 30 inches wide, long. So if you're thinking elementary kids, like you can fit 2 elementary kids on that bleacher. So I think we could fit most of our school body, maybe not our kindergartners, up on the bleachers, where right now we have seating for maybe 12 kids, maybe. We have just a portable bleacher that has 2 rows on it.
So anything that you use right now for the grade school has to be done in the middle school, correct?
Correct, yes.
All right,
Or
now-
we have people standing around. Like we attempted a Christmas concert in December, and people were just standing. We had our chairs out, but we only have chairs for 30 to 40 people, and so all the audience was just kind of standing. So for this event, we went over to the middle school and used their gym, yes, because there are no bleachers, really.
And to answer your, I'm sorry, Mr. Metz, you asked me that, asked us that. The net seats, the 146, that's for an adult like my size. So you could prorate that, I think he said, to roughly 2 to 2.5 of the little guys. So we thought that would be ample room for what they needed. I knew it was on there somewhere, but I just had to look for a second.
What is the population of the elementary right now?
341 students. You're welcome.
So you get kindergartens on the floor and the rest is in bleachers.
Exactly, yes.
This isn't on tonight's agenda to be approved, right?
Well, it is, the other is because it's over the $100,000 threshold that the board must approve.
Right.
That's the reason that the high school is on there as an itemized item.
And Mr. Metz, the gentleman that does this is part of a co-op, so we don't have to
Right,
put it out to
right.
bid. I just wanted to have that also, so.
I will also say by tagging on to the high school order, we're going to save on freight. So that was one of the incentives also to go ahead and ordering these now, because we'll be saving money.
So you're not going to need our approval
Not,
for this?
not on an itemized expenditure, but since the high school was over $100,000, it has to have explicit board
And the
approval.
reason why it's so expensive is to save in freight. You guys are sending an order for 2 versus,
Correct.
okay, that makes sense.
What are they looking at as timeframe?
I think it was September or October.
Really?
Timeframe, yeah, that's what I said. Wow, that's great. So, yes.
And he said it would be quicker, but the gentleman told me, he said, was it 147 or 149 jobs, something like that? They're already, like, he's the main person throughout the state.
Well, he's on the state bid, he's going to get all
Yeah,
the
he's
work.
main- Yeah, he's the one everybody goes to.
Yeah.
let's just put it that way.
Okay,
That's what
great.
so you said that you didn't have to reach out for any other bids?
Right.
And some of you have been, I'm sure you have, the middle school events. It's the exact same business, same gentleman. If you're happy with those bleachers, that's gonna be comparable what we're looking at the other schools.
It would also have seating, handicap seating, there's ADA compatible, so if you had, wheelchair parents that needed that, they would have that also.
So are we talking like maybe 3 rows, or is that what?
I think it varied, depending on where we were with the HVAC.
I should have brought, I'll be honest, I should have brought the schematics, but I think it was more rows than that. It may have been 4. Do you have it with you, Dan? I was thinking it was 4 or 5
That's fine.
rows.
That's
Mr.
fine.
McCown, he can
Yeah.
just send it to us.
Yeah, I can send it. If you
Yeah.
send me a copy of it,
Yeah,
I can send it.
that's,
to
Okay.
the board
that's
members,
getting
no
down in the
problem.
weeds, we don't need to be
Okay,
there.
I did,
Did the high school and middle school PTOs fund like 40% of their bleachers?
No, no.
Is that from you?
you wanna handle that, Mr. Mc-
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think the primary center, through just communicating with parents and the PTO, identified that as a specific need and have been raising money for that goal to meet that need. And so I don't know that the high school has a PTO, and when my kids got to middle school, they didn't want dad to come into school, so I don't know that the middle school PTO is
What's our
terribly
threshold?
active with that.
What's the threshold that it does not take board action now? 50?
Less than $100,000.
Okay.
Sealed bid 50 and 100,000 to come directly to you guys, Mr.
I don't know where Mr. Sherlock was going with this, but
Well,
I
was-
personally,
I
I
was
don't
going-
have any
the-
problem
no,
paying all of it.
Where I was going with it is that it shows that the parents of the primary school students are being proactive to improve it. And that should be taken into consideration with the board helping them with the rest of the project.
Yeah,
That they came up with roughly 40% of the project on their own without coming to the board first. So I think that's admirable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
and I don't have a problem, the board or the county paying more than that, okay? I don't know what the money picture is, you guys do. But, I mean, I think they're going, if they don't spend their 17,000 on this, they're going to spend it on kids, okay? So, it's not like they raise money, they're going to go out, they're going to do something else good for their kids if we pick up a little bit more of this. So
Okay.
don't be, speaking for myself,
Sure.
don't be afraid to pick up more of it. So the threshold's 100,000 then? Wow.
Well, you have to get 3 sealed bids if it's 50, but anything over 100 has to have the explicit approval
Of
on a
the
board
board.
action item.
Okay. They've changed that then, haven't they?
Well, and
Probably narrowed it
they
down.
changed the 3 bids from 5,000 to 10,000 also. So there has been some change in that recently.
Okay.
And Mr. Stewart, we
Little
just
too
looked,
wi- too
I'm
much
sorry, I
wiggle
mean,
room.
Mr. Stewart, we looked it up, it's 5 tiers, correct? I thought it was 4 or 5, it's 5.
Yeah, that's about what you're going to get in there. So, Ms. McCown, I don't think it's, personally, I don't think it's a problem if we cut it down to where they pay 10 and we pay
Sure.
that, or whatever you guys,
I'm
know
happy
the
with
money,
that.
not me. Because we know they're going to spend the money on the kids, and, yeah. who knows, it might pick up another project that you want to get done. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Taylor.
You're welcome.
You can leave now,
Thank you.
or you're welcome to stay.
Oh, she was gonna say she may want to stay. Mr.
Okay, Mr. Smith, maintenance.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Taylor. Give me just a second, guys, sorry. Switching over. Okay, now I'm on the attendance narrative portion. Let's see here. Give me just a moment here. Had some good stuff too, if I can find it. Let's see here. Find it. Sorry about this. There we go.
Get back with 47,000 sounds awful cheap for bleachers.
What's that?
I said, just get back with, while he's looking up, 47,000 sounds awful cheap for bleachers.
Well, Mr. Stewart, if I showed you in the scale compared to what we're looking at here in a little bit down for the other bleachers, you'll see it's comparable once we get into that
Yeah.
further. It'll make more sense.
I was just saying that was, economical, I would imagine it'd been more than that, what I was saying.
Actually, I thought there was a chance wherever Mrs. Taylor left, but yeah, that's what I told her. I wasn't for sure. I thought it might be a little more than that, Brent, like you were saying. I wasn't sure until I got him over there, so. Let me see here. Give me just a second. Let's see here.
They've got a copy in their packet, Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna show them the pictures is what I was hoping to do. William, if you don't mind, I'll go ahead and talk to them about the rest of it. We'll get to the picture in just a minute, if that's all right. Okay, first thing I was gonna discuss was that Dirt Works Excavation began the process of removing the crown on the football field out here and leveling the field. Upon completion of the project, Mountain State Floor Team will place grass seed and straw over the area relating to the project. You all are probably, I don't know if you've been down this way in the last week or two, or you may have saw all the trucks going through town. Dirt Works Excavating started on this process, and by the way, them and Ellison's both have treated us very well on this project. It's a big project. I appreciate their cooperation on all this, but anyway, Scott Murphy, who's with Dirt Works Excavating, they came out and used a transit and they shot it, and from one corner of the field, like closest to the high school, to the far corner, like at the bus garage, there was 5-foot difference, to just give you an idea. So they started off, he was trying to bring the dirt from clear up here, clear to the far end. Well, once he got into it, it became a bigger project. You know how that goes. So, and from one side of the field in one area, there was roughly a 2-foot difference. So basically, I'll show you in here a little bit, he just basically had to rip up the whole playing field, okay? And then he put that dirt back down. Well, we end up having Ellison's dozer service. They brought in 95 loads of what you guys might refer to as topsoil, clean dirt, you might say, without rock and stuff in it. They're bringing that in and they're leveling it off. And like I mentioned here, Friday will be the day that Mountain State Floor Team, they should be done out there. He's going to come in and spread grass seed, and the sideliners with Mr. Peterman, they're going to water the grass twice a day, so we don't think it'll be an issue for football season. I think the biggest concern we had was it was becoming a safety issue. Like if you went down from about the 20-yard line going this way, it like dropped off and there was a heavy drop off. I was afraid kids were going to get hurt at times, so I thought it was becoming a safety issue. So we were glad to see that they were able to work with us and see what they could do about repairing the field. So hopefully, you know, if I'm understanding right, Mr. Metz may be able to speak to this. everybody that I've talked to said that field has not had any repairs in the last 50 years. They thought like 1975 might be the last time that field's been touched. Is that accurate in your world, Mr. Metz? Or what?
That'd probably be correct.
So hopefully if we get it done right, we may not have to do that again in my lifetime. You know, I mean, hopefully it'll be good and the safety issues will be taken care of, and there'll be a crown on the field for drainage for water, but not the safety hazard that we currently have. So, and they're also going to level off. I don't know if you noticed down at the far end, like where close to where the bus are at, there's a very sharp drop off. They're leveling that off too for safety reasons, so there's not issues with that as well. While they were doing that, they also, they needed to run the wires for the speakers. You've heard us have issues communicating, like at football games, one side worked, one didn't. While they were there, they dug the conduit up, and they'll run that conduit back through there and rewire that, so hopefully that'll take care of that situation. If some of you have been to the football games, you've probably...
So you're saying they're upgrading the intercom?
Yes.
Yeah, because there was times you could, there wasn't even there.
Right, right. So that's one of the things we tried to fix too, as well, when we had that all dug up. So I know you all may have a lot of questions with that, so I didn't know if you would or not, but I was hoping I could answer any you might have. So, but like I said, I'd like to applaud Dirk Works and Ellison's Dozer Service. They've done an excellent job, haven't they, Mr. McCown, working with us hand in hand. They've been running truckloads of dirt out of there nonstop for the last day and a half, so, to get everything leveled up, so. Anyone have any questions till I go on to something?
Are they pretty sure that that will be solid by football season?
Yes, the gentleman, as I like to tell John, that's the grass specialist, okay? He says if we keep them off the field, and we've been conferring with Coach Hickman, we don't think it'll be an issue. They'll practice here and down there, and they'll keep everybody off the field. The only people should be going on the field will be people watering the field and things like that. There should not be anybody on there deterring it. So that gives us a few months to get the grass to grow and everything out there, so.
You know, if you were up in the bleachers, you didn't notice that drop off that bad. But if you were down on field level and the play went to the end,
Yes.
you see a helmet of the kid.
Yeah.
Okay, you couldn't see. And it wasn't because they were too far to see. They were down.
Right.
They were down outside.
There've been a few times touchdowns was called down there, and I don't know if the refs could even.
Well, Mr. Metz said that. Coincidentally, I tend to stand down there close to that concession stand there, and I was like, I'd be peeking, I'm thinking, something's not right here, because like Mr. Metz said, they just disappear like they were in quicksand or something down through there. So hopefully we'll get that safety issue resolved, but, and if we can't, that's fine, William, if we can't get the, yeah, let's see, where did it go? It disappeared on me, William. It's okay. It's all right. I'll get with you later date on the picture.
You drive down there and look.
Yeah, but I'll give you some. They're on Facebook.
Yeah.
Some of the pictures, the progress they're making.
Yeah, I've seen some of it.
Okay. The next thing that's in your packet. And by the way, you have any other questions before I move on? Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Last week, Brown Asphalt did an on-site visit to establish the parameters to potentially advertise a bid upon BOE approval to pave the primary center student drop-off gravel parking lot, remove, reinstall parking blocks, and stripe the area accordingly. This would be a proposed summer project. So Brown is somebody that has came and done projects like the striping out here. They were one of the successful bidders in one of our projects like 2 years ago. But they just came out and helped me establish the parameters for that, to get that bid and advertise in the paper. And with your all's approval, I'd like to try and at least get that out there and get bids started, advertised at least for a week or so, and possibly come back to you potentially on the meeting on the 20th with a name of someone that may be wanting to do that. And it's like Mr. McCown said, this I don't know until I get that, but just to be safe, I wanted to be transparent and talk to you about that my guess is it's going to go over the $50,000 threshold. I don't know if it'll reach the $100,000. I'm not sure until I see the bids actually come in. Because what we're going to do is level off all that gravel over, as it says here, pave that. They'll take all those parking blocks out of there, restripe it, and then they'll maximize the parking spots over there. So, and I don't know if how many of you have ever been in that drop-off area over there, but it's getting gradually worse and rougher each year to take care of. So Mr. McCown and I discussed that and thought we'd come to the board and talk to you guys about the potential of doing that and see if you would be all right with us procuring bids and coming back with you, to possibly get that done, so. Anyone have any
It was in
questions?
our 10-year plan, so.
Right, yeah.
That's, what's going through my mind is like for middle school basketball games or anything over there, there's not really any parking. And I'm not sure, is there parking over there available and they can come through on the middle school side to get to the gym? Because,
Yeah.
that is kind of dangerous over there because, there's very little parking on that side. And that's one of the things I hear, why come we don't have any parking?
Oh, you mean like
The
for
middle
sporting
school
events at the
side.
middle school?
Yeah.
Those front doors at middle school are open.
So,
I
yeah, they
always
can
park out
potentially
front.
use that same lot that he's talking
Well,
about.
that's what I was
Just go at the
asking,
front
and,
door,
people
yeah.
ask, tell them they can park over there and.
Oh,
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
have an office.
I think that the front door is routinely open for folks that want to go through the
Okay.
front door.
Yeah, I always park at the front of middle school, because I know the others gonna,
Yeah.
but they could park in that lot and walk right up the trail,
Right.
Right.
right around the playground
Correct.
and into the back of the gym.
Right.
But that front door to middle school is open.
Always
during-
open?
Yeah.
And my guess is with it being a gravel lot, they probably don't think about doing that, but that's thinking outside the box, Brent, because, we could make it public knowledge that you could park there. That would open up more parking for cars, so we'd have more time, place to put buses, other things that
Right.
there's not enough room. That's a good idea. I don't see why
Yeah.
we couldn't do that, Brent. Once we got that paved and everything, I think more likely people would use that. You wouldn't have any opposition to that,
No,
would you,
not at
John?
all.
Okay, that's good thinking, Brent. Any other questions concerning that, okay, all right. Whenever this was sent out to the board members on Thursday, as of today's date, the new two-way radios are in a shipping depot and should be delivered any day now. Discount Communication will install the radios and base stations immediately upon arrival. It should be a 1 to 2 day process. Well, coincidentally, we sent this out on Thursday. Yesterday, Alan Holder, who's with Discount Communications, said that unless there's something, a snafu between now and then, they're to be delivered to him Thursday, and he will start the process Thursday, and by Friday evening, he should have everything squared away with our new radio system. So that's good news, trust me, for everybody in transportation at the schools. They will be happy, won't they, John, once we
Yes,
have that
they
up and
will.
running. So, anyone have any questions concerning that, or? Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we are down to finance. Okay, so we'll entertain a motion to pay the payment of invoices in the amount of $101,570.74.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
Mrs. Cummings and all of the finance ladies are at the ASBO conference today, but I do have the big basket of expenditures, and we have 2 runs of expenditures for your consideration and approval tonight. The first on 4/23/2025 totals $26,445.29. That is primarily utility bills. And then the second run of expenditures was ran on 4/29/2025, totaling $75,125.45. We have instructional supplies. We have the window that was installed at the front office of the middle school. We have Murray sheet metal for an exhaust fan for the welding shop. And we have summer learning kits, additional instructional supplies. These 2 runs total $101,570.74.
Any questions? The window at the middle school is definitely an upgrade.
It is indeed.
Yeah, it was
Real briefly, what
good.
is really good stuff?
It is, they sell a wide variety of things, but instructional materials and I think things that we're going to use for summer school. But they're a vendor. They have books and trinkets and school supplies type of things.
I can tell you, Mark, because my wife uses it. When she was teaching, it was probably our 3rd biggest bill a month, okay? It was really good stuff.
You thought we paid
Yeah,
$9,000 for really good stuff?
They just sell all types of school supplies.
That's
yeah.
what I would.
She's watching, I'll be in trouble when I go.
Airing it out.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking about the pickleball. Yeah.
We have a motion to approve the payment of invoices in the amount of $101,570.74. All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Need a motion to approve budget supplements in the amount of $47,327. Mr. McCown?
3 supplements for your consideration this evening. The first in the amount of $600 is a federal special ed grant for new teacher training. The next in the amount of $42,567 is a federal special ed grant for vocational assessments. And then finally, the middle school applied for and received a $4,160 grant to put a greenhouse at the middle school.
Good.
And these grants total $47,327.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve budgets.
Question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for the grant for the greenhouse, how is that gonna be put into, use with the curriculum?
The science teachers were the authors of the grant and plan to use it with the students. And potentially, I think they could work with food service if they grow something that the cafeteria could use. They could end up selling it and potentially to the cafeteria for the school lunch program. So, yeah, it was sought out and written by the science teachers at the middle school.
Okay, I have a motion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to approve budget supplements amount of $47,327. All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. Need a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $19,447.37.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
We have 4 transfers for your consideration tonight. The first in the amount of $7,795.95. This is a transfer of Step 7 for approved student travel and software. Second, in the amount of $4,158.45. This is transferring alt ed funding to cover Mountaineer Challenge Academy tuition. We did have a student from us to graduate from that will be participating in graduation. So we owe them that. The next in the amount of $492.97 is a transfer from Title IV for contracted services from supply line item. And then last, in the amount of $7,000, this is a transfer rural low income for school-based probation officer contracted services. These total $19,447.37.
Any questions? Hear none, we have a motion to approve budget transfers in the amount of $19,447.37. All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. And the motion to approve bleachers for Wirt County High School gymnasium up to $149,134.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So I think the reason it says up to, so I'll put an advert out there. If somebody out there is pining away and would like to take off of our hands the old high school gym bleachers, we could potentially save some money on the freight cost of those being hauled away. So if you're out there and you're pining away for a set of gently used bleachers, please reach out to Mr. Smith.
Gently.
Well, that was going to be my question. What are we doing with the old ones? So now I know. I guess they're taking them. Surely somebody'd want them.
Yeah, they'll save us about $12,000.
They wouldn't be proper to use at like the ball field or anything like that?
The
There's
last time when we did it at the middle school, we sent it to the fairground. Phil Dunmore and a couple of them helped me illustrate that, and they got those sent down there. I've reached out to Elizabeth Adams and some other people to see if the fairgrounds might want those. I'm not ruling those out, but how do I say it, with it being wood, ideally, it'd probably be better
Absolutely.
underneath of the area, like John said at the barn, maybe the animal barn,
Yep.
or maybe somewhere else down there.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's for both sides? for both
Yes.
sides?
Yeah, I might suggest that we put that on like our webpage or something, or just, people won't know about this, we put it out there
Yeah,
that,
good idea.
yeah. Any other questions? Because it'd be nicer to give them away to somebody and
Right.
let them, yeah.
And the company, Mr. Huffman even helped with his staff. They helped load, like Phil had somebody come here, so as we were taking the old ones out, the gentleman even volunteered his help and time and equipment to help them load them up, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So the gentleman's real helpful with that kind of stuff.
Okay, we have a motion to approve bleachers for Wirt County High School Gymnasium up to $149,134. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. Okay, we're down to personnel matters. We have no resignations or leave of absences, so we're down to employment. Need a motion to approve the employment of Rebecca Miller, special education teacher itinerant, predominantly at Wirt County Primary Center, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of required paperwork.
So moved.
Questions? Mr. McCown?
So as you recall, she has been doing her student teaching and has been in a clinical teacher of record position, but she is graduating, so that's coming to an end, and I'm very pleased to bring her name to you. She is the successful bidder in the classroom that she has just spent the last semester doing her student teaching, has done an excellent job, so happy to bring her name to you tonight.
Yeah, she's going to be a good addition to our staff. Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the employment of Rebecca Miller as special education teacher itinerant, predominantly at Wirt County Primary Center, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of required paperwork. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion passes. Need a motion to approve the employment of Matthew Walker, head boys basketball coach for Wirt County Middle School, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of his required paperwork. Mr. McCown?
So happy to get that position filled and happy that Mr. Walker wants to do it, so.
Any questions? Hear none, we have a motion to approve the employment of Matthew Walker as head boys basketball coach, Wirt County Middle School, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of his required paperwork. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, we're down to number 3. Need a motion to approve the employment of Kayla Kimes, cheerleading coach, Wirt County Middle School, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of her required paperwork.
So moved.
Go ahead.
Kayla has coached for us before, glad she's interested in picking up this position, so happy to bring her name to you tonight.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the employment of Kayla Kimes as cheerleading coach for Wirt County Middle School, effective for the 25-26 school year with completion of her required paperwork. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, need a motion to approve the employment of Lori Enoch as assistant varsity cheer coach, Wirt County High School, pending certification and effective upon completion of her required paperwork.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So again, application was in your packet, happy to get the position filled.
Questions? Hear none, we have a motion to approve the employment of Lori Enoch as assistant varsity cheer coach, Wirt County High School, pending completion and effective upon completion of required paperwork. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the employment of Kylie Stevens Drake, assistant volleyball coach, Wirt County High School, effective for the 25-26 school year with completion of her required paperwork.
So moved.
Mr. McCown?
So this is another one that, well, I think that back when everybody asked for an extra assistant, volleyball didn't right away, so this one has been out there a little bit of time. But again, posted, have an applicant, and Wirt County girl, happy to bring her name to you tonight.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the employment of Kylie Stevens Drake as assistant volleyball coach, Wirt County High School, effective for 25-26 school year with completion of required paperwork. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Need a motion to approve the employment of Justice Aguillo, math teacher, Wirt County High School, effective for 25-26 school year upon completion of required paperwork.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So I do have some updated information. Yeah, that's his application.
Mr. McCown, did you pick up the information on the student?
Yes,
Okay,
I have all of that.
okay.
Okay, so last time we spoke about this position, I was collecting information from the applicant and sending it to Kendra Bunn, the immigration lawyer that Bowles and Rice recommended, and she has reviewed that material, found him eligible for sponsorship for an H-1B visa, and the breakdown of that potential cost is on the estimate before you. I think we've had that position posted all year. He is the sole certified applicant that we have had. And I will tell you that to hire a certified teacher is going to do good things for our kids. They have struggled this year, first semester with West Virginia Virtual School, with having a teacher that was not teaching live every day. We realized it was an issue, and we switched over to proximity learning, which does provide live instruction for the students, but it's very expensive, more expensive than what hiring a teacher would be. And then in addition to that, we've had to put a substitute and hire them in there to proctor the virtual class. So this does have some cost involved with it, but it's going to be less expensive than what the proximity learning and West
Good
Virginia
bit.
Virtual School that we have used this year, and have a certified live teacher every day.
Questions for Mr. McCown?
Do we know what country this person is a citizen of?
Yeah, he was on his, on
It
his
should be in
application.
his packet.
He was on his application. I'm wondering, I don't want to say and be wrong.
Well, let me see here. I believe it is in Nairobi,
That is correct.
because that was his
I wanna say
that was his previous, Nairobi, Kenya. That was his previous teaching employment in his application.
Yeah, and that's where his college degree fit. Questions? Okay, we have a motion to approve Justice Aguillo, math teacher, Wirt County High School, effective for 25-26 school year upon completion of his required paperwork. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it, motion carries. Sherry, we don't have a lot of split votes, but on that one, you actually, in the minutes, have to. Okay, so you're good with what the vote was? Fantastic. Okay, we're down to new business. Need a motion to place policy J-09, open enrollment policy, out on a 10-day public comment.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So the state has changed their policy, so we need to, again, bring this back. And just noteworthy in there is they have flip-flopped back and forth. Once they fill this out, do they have to do it every year? The time before this recent they didn't, but now they've changed it back that they do have to fill it out every year again, and just some various and sundry other changes that the state has made. And with that, we are updating our form to go along with that. So not a whole lot of changes, but just bringing us in compliance with what the new state policy is.
Questions for Mr. McCown? Hearing none, we have a motion to put policy J-09, open enrollment, out on a 10-day public comment. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, need a motion to abolish the custodian 3, Wirt County Middle School, at 2:30 to 10:30, 200-day employment contract.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So this is the contract of the custodian that just retired at the middle school. And after conversation between Mrs. Hickman and Mr. Smith, since that is vacated, we are asking the board to abolish that 200-day contract and to authorize a 240-day contract to give the middle school 2 summer custodians to do the stripping and waxing and all that summertime stuff. Where before, we always had to come back and post an extra summer custodian job and do that. This would give the middle school 2 full-time summer folks to get that work done.
Questions? Hear none, we have a motion to abolish the custodian 3, Wirt County Middle School custodian, 2:30 to 10:30 p.m., 200-day employment contract. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Okay, now need a motion to authorize custodian 3, Wirt County Middle School, 2:30 to 10:30, 240-day employment contract.
So moved.
So this is the other end
This
of what
is the
you're
other
saying.
end of that.
Okay, any questions? I won't make Mr. McCown go through it again. Any questions? Hear none. We have a motion to authorize custodian 3, Class C, Wirt County Middle School, custodian 2:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m., 240-day employment contract. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, need a motion to authorize a summer position, general maintenance / groundkeeper as needed.
So moved.
Mr. McCown.
So we are only asking you to authorize one of those. I think we've had a lot of concrete work last time and did more, but we're not having as much of that. So one, and then the rest of these are just plain vanilla summer contracts that we bring back for you to authorize every year. So next we have a bus operator, we have a cook, and then we have up to 4 teachers, grades K through 5, for the primary center, Energy Express / summer school. So all of these are the typical summer positions that we bring to you and ask you to authorize.
Okay. Any questions on the general maintenance groundskeeper? Hear none. We have a motion to authorize the summer position, general maintenance groundskeeper as needed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Need a motion to authorize summer position bus operator, Energy Express, and other extended school year programs as needed.
So moved.
Okay, Mr. McCown has, Mr. McCown has explained that. Any questions on that? Hear none, we have a motion to authorize summer position bus operator, Energy Express, and other extended school year program as needed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, number 6, need a motion to authorize summer position cook 3 for summer food service program, 1 position as needed.
So moved.
Any questions? Hear none, we have a motion to authorize summer position cook 3 for summer food service program, 1 position as needed. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Ayes have it. And number 7, need a motion to authorize summer program teachers up to 4 teachers as needed, and that's for K-5. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions? Hearing none, we have a motion to authorize summer program teachers up to 4 teachers as needed, K-5, for the K-5 grades. All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Okay, it looks like we do not have any out-of-county enrollments. We do have 2 volunteer chaperones for 24-25 year. If it suits the board, we'll take them both as one motion unless you would like to pull somebody out. Okay, need a motion to approve volunteer chaperones for 24-25 year, and that is Allison Nicolay, Wirt County Middle School, and Paul Miller, Wirt County High School. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, any questions on these people? Anything? No? Okay, we have a motion to approve volunteer chaperones 24-25 school year. We have Allison Nicolay, Wirt County Middle School, and Paul Miller, Wirt County High School. All in favor say aye. Aye, opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Oh, we're down to board concerns. Ms. Stewart.
I have one, the question thrown at me, and I didn't know the answer, so I said I'd put it up on this. Is there a no cell phone policy for next year? And if yes, how are they gonna handle it? For the kids?
So,
Yes, there will be.
I think that did pass legislation.
certainly did.
I think that the State Board of Education policy is up on comment right now. So when that goes into effect and the State Board passes that policy, it then directs every county board of education to come up with their own policy to meet the criteria of that requirement. And from reading that, there's going to be 2 options. Basically, we don't allow them on school property, or if we do allow them on school property, we're going to have to come up with some storage option of where they put their phone when they come into the building. There is a provision in there for exceptions if it is a medical need of the student. I know in the county, we do have some students that have continual glucose monitors that their cell phone tracks and sounds an alarm with that. But basically, we're going to have to figure out, do we want to allow it here on school? And if we decide to do that, we're going to have to